Every week we follow the same song and dance, you and I. That's right. We show up at the same time and place, and we kind of do the same thing that we do week after week. I have this notes tab that has like 6 or 7 bullets on it, and I use that to kind of guide these next 32 minutes. And you sit there, look pretty, may I add myself, but I kind of just talk about whatever, and you're like, yeah, I'll take it. But a few months ago, I had asked, well, is there anything you guys want to know? Because I'd be interested. Yeah, if there's something I should be addressing, I would love to address it. And the one idea that was thrown out is, Garv, you travel, I would say, more often than not. Do you have any stories from your travels? And let me tell you what, I did touch on that topic, but I kind of departed from it pretty quick. Well, let me give you another one. This isn't really a travel story, but I guess it is, because what is travel? You don't have to get on a plane to travel. You can just go somewhere. You could travel to your local grocery store, and if you have an adventure on the way, then wow, it was an adventurous travel. But I was actually a Boy Scout growing up. That's right, Eagle Scout, in fact. And so we would go to camp, and every year there would be the same kind of camps, right? You got Trail to First Class, you got Family Camp. In Cub Scouts, you got Twilight Camp. You even had Camp Winton, which I was a frequenter at, and I actually have stories from Camp Winton that maybe I'll tell you in a future episode. But I'd like to hone in on Trail to First Class. Now, what is that? Trail to First Class? I'm getting some hints of something. I'm feeling lavender, maybe mistletoe. It's funny, we always kiss under mistletoe, but what does mistletoe smell like? Well, it smells like the other person's bated breath, doesn't it? So it depends what flavor Altoids are cheapest that time of the season. Things are you got to penny pinch these days with how much gas is. So Altoids in the winter seasons probably skew winter green because those are the cheapest ones. So we're naturally led to believe that mistletoes smell like winter green, even though they may not. Maybe they smell like shit. But the sweet, sweet lipstick and saliva of your dance partner on the other side of that fern is really what you're smelling. And so that's what you think you're smelling. That's what you think mistletoe is. It's the same way these new water bottles, right? They got these water bottles with these little scented collars you can put on them. So when you're drinking the water and you're smelling the collar, it makes your body trick it into thinking, oh, wait, this water actually has flavor. When it doesn't, it's just what you're smelling. And apparently things are connected. I'm not aware of this. I didn't know, because if you ever seen me walk, you would think his lower half is not connected to his upper half, because everything's moving out of rhythm with itself. So what is going on there? The skeleton must be out of whack. But when I was growing up, yes, we had Trail to First Class. And what is Trail to First Class? Well, in Boy Scouts, there's ranks. It goes Scout, Tenderfoot, Second Class, First Class, Star, Life, and Eagle Scout. Those are the tiers of levels. And so getting to First Class is quite easy. Getting through Tenderfoot, Second Class, First Class, it's quite easy. And that's basically where everyone gets in the first year. And then it takes a few years to get through Star, to get through Life, and eventually Eagle. So I started Boy Scouts in 6th grade and became an Eagle Scout in halfway through my 9th grade year. So it took, 3.5 years or so? I think the day I became an Eagle Scout, I want to say it was January 25th, 2015. I remember because I got a certificate and it shows it on there. And so I don't know why, but that combination of letters, it sticks on my head. Seeing a 1-5, a 2-5 and a 1-5, I was like, yeah, you guys look good together. That's nice. This is like how older people talk when they see people of the same race dating each other. They're like, I don't know why. Guys, am I the only one saying this? Something makes sense there. And we're like, uh-oh, let's, put it together. I don't want to have to say it. You got it. You have all the parts. Just add them up, okay? But getting to First Class, right, you want everyone to kind of get there. And so they created this event once a year called Trail to First Class. And it would typically be at some campsite that's maybe like an hour, hour and a half away. It was pretty close. So if you got sick, you could probably go home. No issues. You go home, come back, maybe, still make it to First Class. But the idea was to kind of fast track you to First Class. You cover a bunch of things over this weekend. I think it's a 3-day weekend, so that you would be able to make good progress. If you go to 2 Trail to First Classes, right, you should pretty much be guaranteed First Class, because it gets you all the way through the requirements that you have to do, pitch a tent this way, make a fire this way, do your whittling shit, right, do your fireman shit. So it teaches you, how to handle an axe, all that good stuff. And I remember in my first Trail to First Class when I was in Troop 1, that's right, Boy Scouts of America, Troop 1, second to none, that was our motto. We were there, and parents are also invited, a lot of the Scoutmasters are typically dads, so there was a dad that was in the tent next to my dad and I. My dad went to Trail to First Class with me the first year. And I remember when I was younger, I don't know why this happened, and it stopped about halfway through high school, but every time I would go away from home, I would always throw up the first night. I would always throw up the first day. Sometime in those first 24 hours after I touched down, my body's like, well, We got to make our mark. I'm like, you don't have to. It's okay. We can just forego. No, I got to do it. I got it. I brought a gift. It would be so rude not to leave it. I'm like, fine, do it. And then my body would go, "Ugh!" And that would happen anytime I would go somewhere away from home. I never really labeled it as such, but I guess that's homesickness. Because, yeah, anytime I was away from home, mentally I was okay. I wasn't like, oh man, I really got to get home. But my body was like, this sucks. I need to do something about this. I'm surprised. Brian, you're good with this? Yeah, we're all good up here. Okay, well, we're doing terrible down here. So you mind if we take care of this? Yeah, go ahead. And it would happen. Well, the first night, right? You're not quiet when you need to throw up. There's some whispering. I woke up my dad. I'm like, Dad, I think I need to throw up. He's like, oh, fuck. Okay. So he opened the flap on the tent. I step outside just past our shoes because I don't want to get anything gross on them, right? I don't want to get the monkey bread from the night regurgitated onto these Merrells or whatever fuck brand hiking shoes I was wearing. And so I'd go a couple feet from the tent and just like the polka dot man in Suicide Squad, I would just, and I think that's the exact same view. I think Mr. Heredia, he was in the tent next to us. He and his kid, Hondo. He got Hondo Heredia and Frank Heredia, the dad. And I think Frank Heredia probably looked at me the same way I think John Cena or Idris Elba looked at Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad when they're like, what the fuck is going on over there? And it's just, you see him ejecting just marbles out of his body, essentially, that are lighting up. And they're very corrosive. And that was it. That was the night. So we wake up the next morning and everyone's like, how was it? And everyone's like, damn, that's cold as fuck. We didn't pack properly. And you do the whole kind of synopsis. Did you guys hear any animals? I could have sworn I heard a bear. Drew, you're always lying. Shut the fuck up. There's no bears here, okay? I Googled it. On Wikipedia, which has never lied. Yeah, before AI, there was Wikipedia. It was the people's place. You didn't have to have a computer lie to you because other humans would. That's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to humans lying to each other. We're outsourcing lying. Lying is one of the best features of a human being. Let us do that. That's like if you see an old lady at a store and she's like, I can't get this. You wouldn't call the 5'4" guy to help her. You call the 7-foot guy. And so unfortunately when we use AI, it's like beckoning over a 5'4" guy when we got humans right here. Use the 7-footer. Just let him do it. He's used to it. It's built in. But I remember one of the things Frank Heredia said was, Garb, did you throw up last night? I was like, yeah, I kind of do that. He was like, yeah, you almost had me. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I don't really love the idea of throwing up. I was like, I don't think you'd find someone that does. He's like, well, that's right. But I don't like when I hear or see people throw up. It makes me feel kind of sick. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, what happened? He was like, well, I was hearing you kind of struggling last night. And I was talking to myself. I was saying, Frank, don't do it. So he was like, I opened our tent a little bit. I took some of the moisture from the outside of the tent. I got it on my palm and then I just kept wiping on my forehead. And I had to just keep talking to myself, being like, Frank, you're okay. You don't need to throw up. And he was like, and I managed throughout the night, but you almost had me there. I was like, oh, my bad. So yeah, that's a little story from Trail to First Class. We don't believe you're a Boy Scout, Garb. You don't uphold a Boy Scout spirit. Oh yeah? Well, what if I told you that a Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent? Scout law, bitch. Learn about it. I know my stuff, okay? Yeah, what's the Scout slogan? Do a good turn daily. Have you done your good turn daily? I haven't. I haven't seen a human being today. I haven't left my place. So am I upholding that? No. But you know what? There's an easy way to do your one good turn daily. That is the Scout slogan. You do something bad then first, or like the day before. You set something up bad and then the next day you fix it. It's a good way. It's like a system. Like yesterday, I left a precarious can of beans on my neighbor's fence, and I knew that shit would knock over. So then today, I woke up and I cleaned up the beans. I said, hey, don't know where these beans came from, but don't worry, I cleaned it up for you. You have to be the disease and the antidote, and that's what I am. That's what scouting taught me. It taught me the foundation that Big Pharma is built on. No, no, I don't. We're joking. I don't mean that. I like medicine. Anywho, I was watching NPR's series Wild Card with Rachel Martin. It's on YouTube. I didn't know it existed until today because the guest they had on most recently is Chris Fleming. Love Chris Fleming. Oh my God. I really like Chris Fleming. I haven't watched his newest comedy special yet. I'm just kind of busy. When I'm not busy, I'm going to sit down and have a little bit of, rum, have a little bit of maybe Thai food, and just enjoy that 70-minute special. But he was on this show with Rachel Martin, and she was asking him questions. I think, it's a 50-plus minute interview. And the first question she asked him, he picked from these 3 cards. This is why it's called wild cards. See how the sausage is made now, don't you? The gears behind the machine. But she was like, pick one of these 3 cards. And I believed you picked the middle card because that's the card that Oprah picked. And she was like, the first question I have for you, Chris, is what's something you took away from your first job? Now, I don't know what you do when you watch online interviews, but whenever I watch them, sometimes I'll pause the video and I'll be like, what would be my answer to this, right? Like if I am ever getting interviewed, what would I say to this question? And so I thought about it. And if someone would ask me, what's something you took away from your first job? Well, immediately my mind went to, okay, well, Gauruv, tell them something you stole. And then that's like a funny thing. Oh yeah, no, what did I take away from my first job? I took a lot of ballpoint pens. Let me tell you what, Bic is wondering, I thought we sent millions of pens over. Where'd they go? Well, they went with me. Boom, that's my gut reaction answer. But if we're not being fucking silly and we're actually having some sincerity in this life, I would say that the thing I took away from my first job is not all jobs have windows. Yeah, Gauruv, some people use Apple iOS, No, enough. I said enough with the jokes. We're trying to have a human connection. Can you leave the jester's activities to another time? God forbid we talk soul to soul. Ew, are you touching my soul? It's not weird. It's not weird until you're making it weird, okay? Like people, you could be in public accidentally playing footsies. And until, right, it's like Schrodinger's foot, until you lift the veil, until you lift the box and you say, are we playing footsies? It's not weird. But you are playing footsies. You are both not and are playing footsies. You and I are both not and both are playing footsies right now because you don't know. Don't look down. You don't know if our feet are touching right now. I would say there's a pretty good chance if you're gonna if you're gonna bet on Kalshi, I would say bet that our feet are not touching. We're not playing footsies. But until you acknowledge that things are the way they aren't. And that's why if you go to the doctor and you're like, hey doc, look at me, what's going on? And he's like, you have diabetes. Well, that doctor's now giving you diabetes because before you went, you didn't have diabetes. So it's his fault. Anywho, the thing I took away from my first job was that not all jobs have windows. You see, I worked majority of my first job. I was an intern for 3 months in the summer of 2016. That's when Pokemon Go came out. I remember it was actually one of the guys in the lab that told me about Pokemon Go. That was when it breached containment and it made its way into my brain because I was like, what is that? And then I had a guy in his 30s fill me in, a 17-year-old, on what Pokemon Go was. How crazy does that seem in the moment? But now as a 27-year-old, I'm like, oh yeah, no, adults are more tapped into shit than kids probably. We're reading all the patch notes. We're doing, data mining and thinking, ooh, what's in the next patch? Because that's the only thing we have to look forward to in life is things that we can pay $15 for so we can download them, even though we paid $60 for a complete game. We're like, no, I'm gonna get the DLC because that's what that's what makes life worth living, But I remember, this guy Cooper, he told me about Pokemon Go, and he was like, you gonna play it? I was like, maybe, I don't know. Acting too cool about video games to another guy. What was I on? That's crazy. I was coyly being like, I'll check it out, maybe, if I have time. I'm so busy as a 17-year-old in this blistering 2016 summer. I'll see if I get around to it. Between penny boarding and drinking pressed juice and hanging out with my friends at midnight at the local Whole Foods, I'll see if I get around to it. And then I did, and I'm still playing Pokemon Go. I'm actually level 61 now, so yeah, if you want to add me, let me know. But I thought about it and I was like, yeah, that lab that I worked in, very minimal windows. And even now where my cubicle is located at work, very minimal windows. So a lot of times now I'd seek out windows. I need sunlight. I need a look into the outside world. I need proof of life that something is happening beyond where I am right now. Because when you're in just, these gray beige walls and there's no windows, it's like, what is even going on? You are in just a alternate dimension. Because there's no sense of time. There's no sense of human life or activity. I can't see a tree. The only time I see nature is if a bird hits the window and, it slides down. A bird goes like, it goes like that. And so I don't have that. There's very few windows where a bird would be running into because they're so far out of the way. So that's what I learned from my first job is that I will always be seeking out windows. I work in a cubicle now, but I will still just reserve a conference room with a big, one whole side of the wall is Windows, because like I need that. I'll just go there for a meeting. It gives me an excuse to like remind myself that there are things outside of this cement bastion. And so that's what I took away from my first job, is that I'm always going to be seeking out windows. I'm always going to be looking outward, which is really, if you think about it, kind of an antithesis to those in their mid-20s, because we have to be looking inward. That's what's most important these days. I've been listening to music without lyrics because I'm uncharacteristically been busy this past month. This is a true testament to how busy I've been. I saw someone all 7 days of a week. You have to understand, most weekends I don't see another human being. Interact with another human being, Garb? No, I don't see one. I don't even look at. I stay inside and I do whatever. I don't go outside. Well, no, I do. I get Dunkin Donuts every Saturday. Of course I do. What are you talking about? I get a medium iced caramel macchiato, 2 donuts, 2 of the turkey sausage wake-up wraps, and then, a side of the bacon. And I asked for 2 hot sauces so I can use one on each of the wake-up wraps. Of course I talk to people. I actually was thinking about this. I have a parasocial relationship with the drive-thru workers at Dunkin Donuts because I've gone to Dunkin' maybe every Saturday for the past 2-3 months. And now it's like I know who to expect. Like now when there's a new person, I'm like, look at that, they got new blood. Oh. And I realize I feel like I'm keyed into their dynamic, but I'm not. And so I feel very parasocial in that way. Because sometimes, right, you'll get up there and then someone will mess up an order. And then the other guy will take care of the order. And he's like, oh, sorry about that. We put an extra donut in the bag. Sorry about him. And then, there's a little bit of rapport. You'll let me in and your little, your secrets. And now there's a guy. He's this Indian guy. And I always see him. And I feel like this could all be in my head. I could be crazy. Most likely. That's the leading theory right now. But I think we have a rapport. We've never talked about anything outside of needing more napkins or hot sauce. But I still feel like we have a bond because I've seen him more than I've seen anyone else in my life. Maybe at work, I see people a little more, but he is the person I see most frequently in an arena of leisure. He's the only guy I see where I'm like, yes, I'm doing a fun thing. And I see him most often. And so there's like, that guy, there's a guy with the glasses with the long hair. And then there's always a variable piece. There's always this, I don't know how to describe them, but then there's this other guy and girl, and they usually like alternate week after week. And so I feel like I understand the dynamic. Like I understand who's going to fuck up the order if they're there. I understand who's going to, always ask for, you need extra straws, you need extra napkins. I know that. And so I feel like such a part of that ecosystem, and I couldn't be farther from it. Isn't that incredible? I now know what it feels like to be a person that watches a famous person on the internet and think they're my best friend. Now I know what you guys feel like. No, I'm kidding. We are best friends. Don't forget that. So every time you press like, just know that next meal's on me. Okay, I'll pay next time we go out. No. But yeah, I feel keyed in to what they're doing. And I always feel like a second away from saying something. It's like, how's it going? But how long's the shift today? And I always stop myself because I remember what's going on in life. And I'm like, that's not a thing that exists. That's a parallel universe, and I'm not going to participate in that. Anyways, I've been listening to music without lyrics because even lyrics feel like a social commitment, and I've been so busy these past weeks. Like I said, the only time I talk to people on the weekend is like I'm getting Dunkin' on a Saturday. Besides that, it's a complete reset for me. I'm an introvert, despite, other working theories. I remember I talked to this girl in college, and she was like, I've told this story before. I was talking to these 2 girls. We went to dinner together, and I was closer to one girl, and then she brought her friend, and the friend was like, you're an extrovert. I was like, oh, and why do you say that? And she was like, well, you always make jokes. And I was like, what does that mean? And she was like, well, to make jokes is like a social risk. Like you're putting yourself out there because it could maybe not work. Like I'm sure you're used to that. Like maybe your joke's not landing. I'm like, well, don't invite yourself to that idea. Okay, I'll invite you into that idea, and then we can check it out ourselves, but don't enter without me letting you in. Okay, I don't know how you got through all those locks, and now we're both sitting at the same place looking at a wall full of my misses, my bombs. Are you serious right now? But I remember, she gave me credit of being an extrovert because she was like, you try to be funny, and I was like, but that's just not what that is. To me, the whole extrovert introvert thing is about how you recharge. If you recharge with people, boom, you're an extrovert. If you recharge alone, then you're an introvert. I've never liked this idea that, oh, introverts are shy. Well, yeah, okay, maybe they are, but like, that's not, like, I think I like to be outgoing when I'm with people, but then, ooh, it's short, right? I'm like one of those shitty wind up flashlights that, yeah, you take me out for like a 4-hour excursion and then you got to bring me back home because I'm no use, right? I'm like an old iPhone where they've made the battery purposely deteriorate, so you have to buy their new model where nothing's different, but it's the same. I said the same thing, right? Isn't that ironic? Even in my statement, it was different but the same, which is what Apple does. No, I like my iPhone. I got a navy one. I got a new navy one. They didn't have green. I used to have a green one. I liked that green. I don't know. I guess I'm just more drawn to the environment. I guess yeah, just got a green thumb and I want my phone to resemble that, I guess. I don't know. Sue me. Don't sue me. But I was so busy last week that I saw people even outside of recreation for 7 days in a row, and it was too much. I felt like I truly never got time to turn off because I need to recharge completely alone. Some people are like, oh my God, I love that too. Like, we can probably hang out and just sit from each other, across from each other. No, that doesn't count because even in silence, even in that, yes, that space where the decibels are turned all the way low, you're still there. I'm still making nonverbal cues that are like, I acknowledge you. Oh, yes. Do you need something? You could shift your body one way. I could be like, oh, yes, sorry. Did you say something? And they didn't. But their energy let me know that, oh, it's a bid for connection. I should pick it up. And so even being across from, it's too much. You can't just be here. I'm sorry. You're asking too much of me. So yeah, I feel like music is the same way. Music with lyrics, it's like asking me, it's inviting me to listen, to participate, right? It's quite literally a song and dance. And so to be part of that, right, it takes a little bit of social battery. When Zara Larsson is on the airwaves telling me about whatever, right, that she's stateside, I received that, okay? And so, yeah, I've been listening to a lot of jazz recently. Actually, I'll go ahead and tell you the song I've been listening to recently. This is the song rec of the week, is Bisous. It means kiss in French, but it's by Feline. And I really like that. If I just literally put that song on and then I let Spotify just recommend me all the other shit that sounds like it, and I was like, yep. And I listened to that just for like an hour the other day because I couldn't do people talking. Like sometimes it's nice to go out and just be in like not a library, because that's the one place people don't talk. It's nice to be out in like a cafe and you hear like the murmur of people talking. It still makes you feel included. It's still asking something of you without demanding it. But jazz allows you to sit and it doesn't ask of you anything. It just lets you. And I like that. I like things that let. I don't like things that are demanding, you know? That's why I don't like going to grocery stores, especially during Girl Scout cookie season, because every time you got to pass through that barrier, right? There's these little girls that are like, you want to buy cookies? I'm like, what's going on? How much are they now? My sister was a Girl Scout. Yes, we're a scouting family. Never seen the Hunger Games, though. But we're a scouting family. My sister was a Girl Scout. And, you know, when she was a Girl Scout, cookies used to be $3 a box. I remember I would work the site sales with them at the local Hollywood Video or the local CVS or whatever the fuck they were stationed. A tent hut. And, yeah, they were $3. Now these fucking boxes of cookies are $7 a pop. Are we kidding? I can't do it. It's too much. Don't make me... It's not even that... Most of the time, right? When you like shut down those people who are like, you want to save the environment for only 10 cents? And I'm like, I only have to reject the environment, which is not a big deal, right? Because no one cares about the environment. But with Girl Scouts, it's like now you're making me reject two things. You're making me reject little girls and my insatiable crave of Girl Scout cookies. So like, don't do that. Now you're taking away something I'm interested in. I don't give a fuck about trees, especially because I can't see them, right? If a tree falls and you don't see it, did it fall? That's why I don't get this big uproar about these fucking save the environment. I haven't seen a single tree fall. They're not falling. I haven't seen it. So shut up. Yeah, I haven't seen it around here, so I don't think it's happening. But you know what I have seen is I don't even know what to make a joke. Like three things came to mind. I was like, I don't even want that to be recorded, that I would like make a joke about that. I got an oil change the other day. apparently you're supposed to do this like every 3 months or whatever. I'm not a frequent driver. I legitimately average 3,000 miles a year. I've had my car, this year's going to be its 10th birthday. I just broke 31,000 miles. I don't drive. I don't try to go places. It's insane to me. Some of my friends, like my friend Andrew Hoyer, he tells me like, oh yeah, he got a new truck or like a slightly used truck a few years ago or whatever. And he was telling me how many miles it has on it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's driven the car for maybe 2-3 years, and he has the same miles as I do. And I've had that shit for 9 years. I don't know where people are going. I still, when I drive, I feel like, God, I'm using so much of my life just to drive to a place. I haven't even, just a fraction of time. And yet it feels like such a drain, it seems like the road, right? The pavement, well-traveled, is hemorrhaging my fucking time on this earth. Yet it's not. It's a healthy amount of time I spend off the road, but it still feels like too much. But I got an oil change, and it reminded me of how powerful muscle memory is, because they ask you pull up and you turn the car off, and they ask you to touch certain toggles and, doodads, whatever, things on your car you didn't even know existed. And they're like, reach under there. I'm like, am I allowed to? They're like, yeah. But they told me, hey, turn your like left blinker on. And my brain froze. I looked at my console and I was like, fuck, how do you do that? Because if I'm driving my car, I know, yeah, you just flick it right there. That's your blinker. But then I looked at my car when it was completely powered off, key in my lap, and I'm looking at all the things in front of me. I'm like, oh, fuck, how do you turn a blinker on? Or, well, no, the key must have been in, because you can't fucking use the blinker unless the car is on. Wow, we poked a hole in your story, Garb. What else have you lied about, asshole? Okay, Jesus. But no, do that. Sit in your car, just have it like on, and then think, okay, now use my blinker. It takes a second, does it not? No, Garb, you're just slow. Don't be fucking dense with me. Okay, play a little bit. Even if you don't. See, oh my God, that's like the perfect litmus test for a person. If you set up a situation like that, in fact, copy my fucking example. Tell a person, okay, sit in your car. Imagine this. Sit in your car. You got the key in. Go for your blinker. You wouldn't know where it is, right? If someone denies that, and they say, no, I know where it is because I've driven a car, I hate that person. I can't stand that person. Even if I don't believe what the other person is saying, if they set up a hypothetical, I will play. I will yes and. I will agree with whatever they have to say. If they take it too far, then I might pump the brakes. Quite literally, we're talking about cars here, folks. But if they start saying stupid shit like, oh yeah, go for your blinker, I will indulge that. I'll say, oh yeah, where would that even be? And they're like, right? And then think about your pedals. Like, where are even those? That's where I would stop. I'd be like, sorry. You don't know where your pedals are? There are only 2 of them, and they kind of stay static. They're always down there. You understand that, right? I can get behind the blinker thing, but the pedals, that seems like a part of a larger conversation. Do we need to have it? Because I'm open to it. I haven't seen that many people this week. I got a little bit of a emotional social bandwidth if you want to use it up. But then if you want more, you're going to have to crank me like one of those flashlights, all right? Nothing sexual. It just mean you have to leave me alone. That's how you crank me. When I'm alone, I'm able to get cranked. What's he doing in his free time? You have to understand. Context is so important. It's not what you think it is. But yeah, I was asked in a stationary car, can you go ahead, flick your left blinker? And I was like, I was about to fucking use the windshield wiper. It was really, those are your 2 options. And I legitimately raised my right hand a little bit, and they so lovingly said, yep, just on your left side. I was like, right, I knew that. But just to save face, because my right arm was already raised, I was like, right, no, I use my right arm. It's my dominant hand. Why would I not use it? But no, it's a sobering experience. It's kind of the same way as there's a lot of passwords I have online, right? And if you were to ask me, God, what's your password? I don't think I could tell you most of them. But if I'm sitting in front of that login screen and I have to type it, I got it. I can remember all my passwords. But if you were like, God, what's your Neopets I don't have a Neopets account. It's just an arbitrary example. If you're like, God, what's your Neopets password? I could sit in front of my computer and be like, yeah, I got it. And then if someone's like, what'd you just type? I'd be like, I don't know. I truly don't know. So that's how I felt when they were like, yeah, use your blinker. I use my blinker all the time. I overuse my blinker. I'm one of those people, when I take a turn, there's no one else on the road, I'm using it. I don't know. I'm just like I'm good for society is what I am. I've never understood when I see people on the road, and it's like, normal hours of driving. It's not like we're going too late or anything. And they just switch a lane. I'm like, whoa, sorry. I know there's no one behind you, but did you know that? What if there was? we're not infallible. Us human beings, we make mistakes. You got to use the blinker just in the off chance that someone comes speeding through. They got to know, you got to know your intentions. That's the problem. No one understands intention these days. And no one understands what this guy keeps talking about on this podcast. But I'm glad that you keep tuning in week after week, because we're hopefully going to figure it out. We're going to make sense of this goddamn thing. What is it? Whatever I'm saying week after week. I already gave you my song rec. Give it a listen. Bisous, right? Means kiss in French. And I want you to bisous the like button. I don't know if that translates. That's like when people are like talking in Spanish and they don't use the correct grammar form. They always use like the AR. Yeah. Hablar a little Espanol, huh? It's like, don't even. That's such a bastardization of the art form that is the Spanish language. So shut the fuck up. Sorry. But yeah, I hope you bisous the like button and give it a nice little gentle kiss. Would you? It means so much to me. And what else means so much to me is you coming in here week after week. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And I will talk to you next week. Okay?